We're here with the only man of the hour. This is Adam Hurly.
Hey guys.
Cheers! Adam has graced us with his presence all the way from Lisbon, Portugal.
That's right.
Adam was, or is, a grooming editor with GQ, with Forbes, with Men's Health, with Rob Report.
Men's Journal.
Men's Journal, not Men's Health. He's the man. He was actually one of the first writers to ever write about Guy Fawkes. He's in our city. You know we had to say what's up. So we appreciate your time.
We appreciate your time. No, seriously. I love you guys so much.
He's not getting paid to do this, by the way. I don't think so. No.
One of the ways I always describe your brand is I just want to hang out with them. So I am so happy to be hanging out with you in San Diego, no less, on a very beautiful day. I truly am just so happy to be here right now.
Like, this is like premier San Diego,
It really
right?
is. This is how I would have written it if I could have when I wanted to meet Guy Fawkes.
So North Dakota, and then you went to KU.
Yeah, I went to KU. I grew up in
Rock
South.
Chalk?
So I was born in North Dakota, grew up in South Dakota, went to KU, University of Kansas,
Okay.
Crimson and Blue,
Yep.
then San Francisco and New York before Germany and Portugal. I'm just like listing off cities at this point, but
Almost to the day, Adam Hurly, and you didn't know this because I didn't know this until I was in the Uber over here. To the day, 5 years ago, I emailed you.
Really?
To the day. And so I went on your GQ profile, didn't have like your email or whatever, found your website, and I was like, contact form. And you and I have been corresponding on that like one contact form thread for like 4 years.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of crazy meeting you in person after 5 years when I've like talked to you, obviously.
I do feel like we're old friends. This is a like long time coming.
When you responded, I was like, oh my God. I have a Snapchat of me packing the order, and on it said like Adam Hurly, and like the company was like GQ. And I put it in the mail, and I was like sending it to GQ, and I remember that like being so funny. We talked about your Midwest upbringing.
Yes.
We talked about you being an expat. We talked about you living in Portugal. What were your career jobs, bro? Did you instantly start writing? Like, yo, I'm gonna start writing for these major publications. I like grooming. Like, how did that become your like niche? Right?
Okay, to make a long story less long, I studied film and I studied PR. I worked at Pixar, worked at the Telluride Film Festival. I had these various film jobs, but then I couldn't get a real job to stick. So it was 2008, I graduated into a recession. So I just started taking any out job I could get. One year I'm running youth programming for the Red Cross in San Francisco. The next I'm filming B-roll for the Telluride Film Festival. The next I'm working in talent management in New York, or I'm learning how to write SEO hotel websites for an agency in New York City. So I was just piecemealing all these jobs together, trying to make sense of a career like a lot of people who graduated in that time. And then next thing you know, Birchbox is hiring, Birchbox, which is a beauty subscription service.
They were based in New York, right?
They were based in New York. I interviewed and got hired to be their men's editor, not because I knew a lick about men's grooming, but because I knew how to do SEO, I knew how to manage film production.
Oh, no way.
I knew how to do and I knew how to write a script, and I knew how to do all these things, and I majored in PR. So all these jobs made me a really good candidate for the function of the job that I was hired to do.
But you never done the job.
I knew nothing about men's grooming. They hired me and said, you can learn men's grooming as long as you can be comfortable talking in front of a camera, running production, you can write SEO content. I was head of SEO at Birchbox. But then I got laid off like a year later. They axed most of the men's team. And I quickly said, well, that's my cue to go freelance.
Okay.
That's when I emailed GQ and I emailed Esquire. I started writing for Esquire right away. GQ came knocking about 8 or 9 months later after I interviewed with them. And that's when I signed a contract with them. That was 2016. Ever since then, I've really kind of been, the guy, with like a couple other guys.
Shout out.
So taking all those pieces of my career is why I started Blueprint. And what's funny is a lot of the job that I'm doing now feels like I'm just reviving Birchbox Man, and trying to build out a place where we have conversations solely about men's grooming.
I think that's such a cool thing to drill down on, because like what you just said, like you kind of like are the guy when it comes to like men's grooming.
Somehow.
I don't care if you're a pomade company or a whatever, like they probably know your name in some capacity, which is kind of a crazy concept.
It's cool.
If like you're in a Target or something, or like even in like a cool like indie store, you're like, I know these guys, I know these guys, I know these guys. Like,
I take pride in responding to brands that don't have the need or the budget for a publicist that is $7,000 per month when they're just getting started.
Yeah.
And there are a lot more guys who are entering the space, but for a long time it was really easy to pinpoint the few of us who were covering the category. And so I did think it was my responsibility to answer those emails, because there's so many brands that I'm fed that are primarily women's brands or are unisex brands, but the brands that really want to hit the nail on the head with men Like I do think it's my job to be a megaphone for them, and so many of them have such good brands, such good products. I want to answer the email just so I can hang out with cool people too, and smart people, so.
When did you know you're such a good writer? Because your writing style, I'm not gonna toot your own horn again, but like you have such a unique writing style where it is hyper relatable. Guy Fawkes' tagline is that we want to be the most relatable fragrance brand in the world. You just said, I just want to hang out with you guys. People, when they read Adam Hurly, they're like, oh, this guy like just sounds like one of us, but is like the subject matter expert on grooming.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's a part of that is a tip to my editors for not editing my voice too much.
Okay,
I appreciate that I've had editors that have let me just talk.
Yeah.
I don't consider myself this like capital J journalist. I'm not taking myself too seriously. I love being a service journalist, and I love having a conversation with the reader and talking to them and recommending things to them. I cannot be so serious that I am sitting on a throne and like deeming you get coverage and you get coverage. To me, the easiest way to write is to write as if you are talking. And I think so many journalists need to be more serious than that for their career. But I love where I sit in my niche because all I can do is just chat with a guy like we're having a beer.
Yeah. And on that note,
I should have said the word beer 20 minutes
on that note. So guests on this show,
yes.
This is my favorite beer, shout out Virgin. If we get in trouble here, I'll pay the fine. Cheers, mate. What is the status of today's journalism, and how would you, and tell me more, or tell the fans more about Blueprint and what you're trying to do there?
In launching Blueprint, I think I am reacting to the way that the internet is changing content. To have a niche and to own a niche is much more valuable. Until recently, Google search was king, which has really dictated a lot of the content we've been writing. 10 best this, 10 best that. Now it's going to be a lot more voicey. It's going to matter a lot more to own your niche, to talk about things individually. I think it's going to matter a lot to spotlight brands and to spotlight singular products that you really love, because search is going to become really AI. Yeah. And so it's going to matter a lot more to have a point of view. And so that people who shop with you aren't just shopping someone who's gamed the system, they're shopping someone who is the most human voice in a field that is otherwise like leveled by AI. So the more voice you can have and the more perspective you can own, the better you're going to be in the foreseeable future. One thing that I've been fortunate with of covering grooming for 13 years is my byline is really strong in the men's grooming category. And so if I make a business with my name on it and talk about men's grooming, sure, search is not going to be the same as it was, but I already have a reputation in that field, so why don't I build a business in that vein? I need to think a few steps down the road. A lot of journalists right now are starting newsletters, and they're finding ways to go independent. But one thing that's really nice about being on the men's grooming side is those of us who cover it, there are a few of us. So
there's like 5 of you.
Yeah, and again, there are a few guys that are coming up now, so I'm really optimistic for these guys. Yeah. I feel instant validation in starting my own thing. Like, it feels needed.
Yeah. Can you tell me this more about contributing editors and writers, and how do you get paid? Like, do you have deliverables, or do you have you submit and then if they accept it, then you get paid?
Most freelance would be you pitch and then you see if the editor likes the idea. Maybe you workshop something together and then you do your research and your writing and then you submit. Men's grooming is a little bit different. Typically, like for the longest time, I was on a monthly quota for GQ. Okay. And I would offer up a few ideas. They would greenlight most of them. They would give me a few needs.
Can you give me a use case that they would give you like a need? Hey, we want to write top 10 best.
Yeah, top 10 best clones for spring. And it is a lot of really functional stuff. There's not a lot of me just saying, hey, I want to go rogue and write this random thing that maybe will perform well on the single day. That was like part of the Facebook era, like 2012, 2013. Yeah. And now it's like you really have to produce something that's going to perform well into the future. Yeah. I do think in the next iteration of the internet, once AI really compromises search, I think it's going to go back a lot more to curated and this is my taste and this is what I like. Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot more thoughtful content. Not that it isn't thoughtful now, I just think it's going to be a lot more individual point of view rather than serving the search engine. The younger people value much more authenticity. So much of the job that freelancers have had, especially when it's search-dominated content, has been Googleable. For a long time, it didn't have to be lived in and experienced.
Yeah.
And one thing that's been really good about this age of authenticity is even as in these magazines right now, as we're writing all these 10 best, 10 best, 10 best, what's great is it's pictures of us trying them, some video clips of us trying them, proof that we're using it and proof that we're testing it. That is really working for the magazines. And even as we move into the next phase, that's going to be the aspect that's going to be the most important.
For sure.
What I will appreciate in the next phase is we might not have to have a 2,000 word article that is scripted for Google to crawl it, but we can just say, we love this product for this reason, get the cosign, and then just like watch that brand take off.
What has been something that's happened that you guys were like, oh shit, we did not expect that at all?
So one of the hard parts so far is just like doing the part of your job that is the research or the actual keeping oxygen in it and having the time to record and produce new stuff. And the other thing is that it's really difficult to get engagement on a lot of social media. You know, it's interesting to think of your business in terms of where's the easiest to get eyeballs or how valuable is a follower on this channel or on this channel. Yeah. And the main goal for me is newsletter and YouTube.
I was
right
gonna say
now.
Newsletter is so that is so valuable.
Yes.
That you have people's email addresses and they care about what the hell you're saying.
Yes. I've been having a lot of conversations this week with brands, some of whom I've never met in person, some of whom I'm just drive by, like being stopped and hello, and they're opening and reading it. And I thought, oh, okay. So, you know, it is sometimes like if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
And I'm getting that instant validation already, and it means
it must
a lot.
feel good.
It does, yeah. And the newsletter is free, by the way. So
how do they go? How do they get it?
They can go to grooming.tips, and you will be prompted with it. You can also
grooming.tips.
We bought grooming.tips
no
just to make it easier because it's like blue-print.co/newsletter. Grooming.tips, you'll get a pop-up asking you to subscribe. Every week we do a giveaway that is at least $200, 3 winners minimum. There's always something to win if that's what you want, but otherwise it's the best new products I'm testing, the daily grooming topics that I'm encountering, it's the conversations that I'm having, the brands that I'm discovering, the experts that I'm meeting with. Fragrance is such a form of expression. Yeah. And I do think in men's grooming in particular, we don't have that many opportunities for expression. Your hair is one, your beard might be one, and kind of fragrance. And when you think about on the women's side, maybe nails, makeup, hair, obviously, fragrance, some accessories. So your style, grooming is part of your style. And so if it's not your hair and your beard, let's say, it really is the radius that you cast around yourself.
It's just cool to like see a random guy walk by and him caring about maybe his grooming routine.
Yep.
What are you proud of men out there in 2025?
I'm proud that we're no longer doing the least. I'm
the bare minimum.
Let me frame it under maybe men's hair loss and hair recovery. We get shamed for losing our hair. We're embarrassed by it. For one, if you can embrace it and shave it off and rock that, like I think you are good on you. Like I envy that because I never got there. Just the fact that we can even have a laugh and very matter of fact say, I got a hair transplant, or I went to the toupee queen, and just talk about these things means we're removing a lot of the stigma that is self-care is for women or too feminine or something like that.
Totally.
So I appreciate that the bar is no longer on the floor. If I could just say one thing is just please
say it.
Everybody wear SPF every day. Just on your face, maybe even on your hand. SPF 30 as a baseline. If you're going to wear a moisturizer in the morning anyway, why not get one that has SPF 30 in it? In fact, if you just put SPF on when you're sitting in the sun, even as the sun is going down, even on a winter day, every day for the rest of your life, that is probably, I don't know how many days, just multiply that UV exposure, which is breaking down your skin's ability to stay supple and firm and soft and resilient. And if you can just do that, you will look 10 years younger than all your peers when you are 50, you'll look 20 years younger when you are 70.
So that's our number one hack is wear SPF.
And wear Guy Fawkes.
Wear Guy Fawkes. What was the first impression of Guy Fawkes? What was it? Because this little guy, me, emailing you, please. I genuinely think the only true way to cut through, well, one is have a great product, which you do, but two, you have to have a brand and a brand identity. Part of my job is to cast products in articles, now in videos, that have a true sense of themselves, but also that like
look good on the page, on the website, that don't feel like they've been just copy pasted from other places.
Yeah.
And you really seem to have bottled San Diego, hanging with the boys. You have bottled sexy co-eds on the pier.
Sexy co-eds on the pier.
But you know what I mean.
We got the vibe.
You have bottled just like, I want to have a good time with my friends. You literally have named many of your fragrances after your friends. That to me says this brand knows exactly what they are. They aren't trying to be anything else. But on top of that, they smell really nice. You checked all the boxes. So obvious to me. And I do want this to be a message to a lot of the brands out there that might think, we're too small, like we can't afford a publicist, they'll never respond to me. If you check those boxes, you're so on the right path.
I ask all the guests, when I say all, I mean one, that have been on the show. What are you playing for?
What am I playing for? I am playing, honestly, I think I can make a really successful career in this, and I think I can finally see the house with the backyard, with the garden, with the dog.
What city?
Rio. And I point to my partner who's Brazilian, playing for financial freedom.
And the love of the game.
And love of the game. To make it a little selfish, I genuinely have loved part of my job meeting all these brand owners who are actually playing for something. We need like this space to become bigger. I do think it will always be very small compared to beauty.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I am truly playing for the category. I have met so many wonderful brand owners face to face over email, over anything. And to just in 13 years see some of them go from, hi, can you please write about this, to, hey, we just put our kids through like private education and are like paid off our mortgage and like we're selling at Target. And I don't take any credit for their success. If I can just even witness their success and 1 or 2 points, just like be a fraction of a part of that, it is just so cool. And I really appreciate that on the men's grooming side. It feels so human. So I am playing for the category.
You're the fucking leading proponent of it, brother.
Thanks, man.
And I told you this already via email. When we got into GQ that first time, I legit cried. I like actually cried.
Oh,
and I
man.
cried, like FaceTime my co-founder, and me and him were crying. Like that's because of you, right?
I love that video though. It's
crazy.
It's so, but this is okay. If I can just preach to all the people who are publishers, who are my bosses, it matters so much that we shine a light on smaller brands and on any brands, on things that we actually love, and it can not only change the industry, but it can change so many people who have a point of view and who are doing unique things and who are doing things outside of this like New York, LA ecosystem that I think so many of the brands think that's the rhythm I have to fall into. I have to check all these boxes and hire this publicist to do all this stuff. There's so many special grooming brands that are making it count in their own market.
I think you're such a champion of brands like us. For men out there, honestly, everywhere. It's like, I think our industry is like 8% of the beauty industry is like men's grooming or something small.
Yet I think like 0.025% of the coverage is for men.
Right?
So and I don't mean to suggest that men need any more space than we already take up in the world.
You're right.
But we do need more coverage in the self-care space.
And it's not like your article like made us millionaires. Right? What your article did to us was fulfill like a dream that we had when we first started, right?
Yep. It's a cosign.
But it also, it's a cosign. And it gave us so much confidence where we're like, yo, we belong here, right?
Yeah.
And since you wrote about us 4 years ago, like, dude, we're now one of the fastest growing men's fragrance brands in the country.
Deservedly so.
And honestly, like GQ is like our Mount Rushmore, right? So like when we got that, we're like, all right, fuck you, literally fuck yes, let's go, and it gives us a lot more bravado, a lot more confidence to do what we do every day when we get that cosign, and I appreciate you for that cosign.
I appreciate you for giving me stuff to write about, you know?
Adam, tell the people again how do they reach you.
You can follow me, Adam Hurly. There's no E in Hurly.
Even sicker.
Yes.
Even sicker.
I'm that unique. You can go to Blueprint Grooming on pretty much any social channel.
You gotta go to that.
You should follow, subscribe. YouTube, you go to grooming.tips to get our newsletter and to read all of our articles to get the latest. Yeah.
I think that's a wrap. Adam Hurly, everybody. Appreciate you coming by, buddy.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, Liam. Appreciate you.